Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Dr. Intan. We are from Group 19 and today we will be presenting Assignment 5 which focuses on justifying a lesson plan. This lesson plan is prepared for Form 1 students and focuses on literature within the theme of people and culture. In this presentation, we will explain the reasons behind the choices made in our lesson plan, including the activities, materials, teaching strategies, and assessment methods, and how they support students' needs and learning objective. On this cover page, you can also see a click here button. By clicking on it, you can download the full PDF of the lesson plan for your reference throughout the presentation. These are our group members. Me, Wan Akila Inshira binti Wan Azmi, Nur Shakila binti Abdul Malik, Anis Umairah binti Muhammad Fazli, and Nasrul Firzana binti Hamdan. Okay, now let's start with introduction. This lesson plan is designed to develop students' reading and writing skills through the topic of literature under the theme People and Culture. The lesson focuses on helping students identify specific details in a text and apply the understanding by predicting future actions of characters. The activities are structured progressively, moving from guided understanding to higher order thinking, while still considering students' proficiency levels and learning needs. Alright, let's take a look at why is the topic chosen. The topic literature is chosen because it strongly supports the theme people and culture. Through literature, students are exposed to different perspectives, beliefs, and traditions, which helps them understand how people think, act, and live in various cultural contexts. Secondly, literature helps to encourage students' interest and appreciations for reading. Texts such as passages, novel covers, or characters from folktales or cultural stories are used to make reading more engaging and meaningful, especially for Form 1 students. Thirdly, this topic promotes critical thinking. Students are not only required to read but also to identify specific details and later analyze characters by predicting their future actions. This helps students move beyond surface level understanding. Finally, literature supports students' overall language development because it uses authentic and also relatable content. This allows students to practice reading and writing skills in a natural and meaningful way, making the lesson more effective and also relevant. The learning objectives are clearly aligned with the learning standards and structured according to Bloom's taxonomy, progressing from lower order to higher order thinking skills. For learning objective 1, students are required to identify specific details from a given passage. This objective aligns directly with Learning Standard 3.1.2, which focuses on understanding specific details and information in simple longer tasks. These tasks mainly involve C1, remembering, as students locate and recall information from the text. It helps develop basic reading, comprehension skills, and serve as a foundation for more complex thinking later in the lesson. For learning objective 2, students work in pairs to predict future plans or actions of characters from folktales, short stories, or cultural stories. This objective aligns with Learning Standard 4.1.2, which requires students to describe future plans or events. These tasks involve C3 applying, as students apply their understanding of the text and characters to create new ideas. This clearly reflects high order thinking skills HOT as students go beyond recalling information and begin to think creatively and also critically. Overall, the lesson progressed from lower order thinking to higher order thinking, starting from C1, remembering in the reading task, and moving to C3, applying in the writing task. This ensures that students achieve their learning objective in a meaningful and structured way. Now I will begin by explaining the set induction, as this is the first stage of the lesson and it plays a crucial role in preparing students before the main activities. The rationale of the set induction is to attract students' attention at the start of the lesson. It also aims to activate students' prior knowledge related to reading and understanding text. In addition, the set induction prepares students for the main reading task by introducing them to the skill of identifying important details. Overall, this stage is designed to motivate students and build their interest in literature in a meaningful and engaging way. The set induction is carried out by asking engaging questions and also using visual materials to stimulate student interest. Teacher student interaction is emphasized to encourage active participation and involvement from the beginning of the lesson. Through this interaction, students are guided to observe, think, and connect their existing knowledge to the upcoming reading activity, ensuring they are mentally prepared for learning. In this lesson, teacher shows pictures of novel covers with intriguing details to capture students' attention. The teacher then directs students' focus towards specific and appealing elements on the covers, such as characters and settings. By highlighting these elements, students develop interest in literature and begin to understand the importance of details in a text, which prepares them for the main reading tasks and future prediction activities later in the lesson. Therefore, the set induction is placed at the beginning of the lesson to ensure that students are focused, motivated, and ready to engage meaningfully for the whole lesson.
For the pre-lesson stage, our main rationale is to activate the learner's schemata, aka their prior knowledge. Before students begin reading, we want to prepare their minds by helping them connect what they already know about reading to the specific strategies needed for this particular text. These help reduce cognitive overload and makes reading more purposeful from the very first page. We do this through explicit strategies instruction. Instead of assuming students know how to look for details, the teacher clearly explains the how-to of the reading before the task begins. This gives students a clear plan and builds their confidence, bridging the gap between being a passive reader and an active investigator. As shown in our lesson plan, the teacher first explains how to scan a text for a specific anchors such as names, dates, and numbers. Students are instructed to underline keywords related to the who, what, when, where, and why. They are also guided to skim quickly for the gist first, then we read the text more slowly to highlight 2 to 3 precise facts. This step-by-step guidance ensures all students know exactly what to focus on before the reading task starts, minimizing confusion during the independent work phase.
Now I will explain the justification behind the development of our lesson plan, focusing on three main stages, which are the input, task, and feedback stages. This lesson plan is designed for Form 1 students and it mainly focuses on Reading Learning Standard 3.1.2, which is understanding specific details in a simple longer text. Learning Objective 1 or LO1 specifically assesses students' reading skills. First, I will explain the input stage. The main purpose of the input stage is to teach students the selected learning standard before they attempt the task independently. In this lesson, the focus is on helping students learn how to identify specific details in a reading text, such as names, activities, and habits. In this lesson plan, the input stage is carried out during the lesson development. The teacher distributes handout 1, which contains a short reading text titled The Story of the Mobile Phone Novel. Students are asked to read the text aloud with the teacher's guidance. This allows students to become familiar with the text and its content before focusing on the questions. During this stage, the teacher highlights the target reading strategy, which is identifying specific details from the text. The teacher also repeats difficult parts of the text, especially for weaker students, and checks if there are any unfamiliar words. This step is important because students may struggle to find details if they do not understand key vocabulary. Differentiation is applied by adjusting instruction and providing extra support where needed. Overall, the input stage ensures that students clearly understand what they are expected to do when identifying specific details in the text. Next, I will explain the task stage. The purpose of the task stage is to assess students' understanding of the learning standard after the input stage. This is where students apply the reading strategy that has been taught. In this lesson plan, students are required to answer 6 comprehension questions based on the reading text. This task is completed individually, which allows the teacher to assess each student's ability to identify specific details independently. The questions directly align with LO1 because students need to locate accurate information from the text rather than guessing or giving general answers. The teacher sets an 8-minute timer for students to complete the task. However, students who need more time are given an additional 1 to 2 minutes. This shows differentiation by time and ensures that weaker students are not disadvantaged. During the task, the teacher walks around the classroom to monitor students' progress and provide guidance when necessary. The success criterion is that students should be able to identify at least 4 out of 6 specific details correctly. This makes the assessment clear, measurable, and aligned with the learning objective. After the task, the lesson moves on to the feedback stage. The purpose of the feedback stage is to discuss students' answers and help them understand their mistakes. Feedback is important because it allows students to reflect on their performance and improve their reading strategies. In this lesson plan, the teacher checks the answer together with the class. Students then count how many answers they got correct and raise their hands if they achieve between 4 to 6 correct answers. This allows both the teacher and students to quickly see whether the learning objective has been achieved. During this discussion, the teacher explains the correct answers and clarifies any misunderstandings. The teacher also praises students' participation and effort. This positive feedback helps to build students' confidence and encourages them to stay engaged in reading activities. To conclude, this lesson plan is carefully structured using the input, task, and feedback stages to support students in achieving Reading Learning Standard 3.1.2. The input stage prepares students by teaching them how to identify specific details. The task stage assesses their understanding through an individual reading activity, and the feedback stage reinforces learning through discussion and clarification. This sequence ensures that students are guided, assessed, and supported throughout the lesson.
The lesson plan is developed to support students in achieving Learning Objective 2, which focuses on writing skills. Specifically, LO2 requires students to describe future plans or actions related to characters from folk tales, short stories, or cultural stories using simple and correct sentences. To ensure that students are able to achieve this objective effectively, the lesson plan is structured into 3 main stages: input, task, and feedback. Each stage serves a clear purpose in guiding students, assessing their ability to apply what they have learned, and supporting improvement through feedback. First, I'm going to start with input stage. The rationale for the input stage is to guide students on how to carry out the writing task successfully before they begin writing. Writing can be challenging for students, especially when they are unsure about sentence structure, ideas, or language use. Therefore, this stage focuses on providing students with sufficient support, including ideas, context, and language models, to prepare them for the writing activity in line with Learning Objective 2. In this lesson plan, the input stage for LO2 is implemented during the post-lesson input. The teacher begins by showing pictures of characters from folk tales, short stories, or cultural stories. These visuals help students recall familiar stories and characters, which makes it easier for them to generate ideas about possible future plans or actions. Visual support is particularly helpful for weaker students as it reduces their reliance on text and helps them understand the task more clearly. Next, the teacher provides clear model sentences such as "I hope he will" and "I am excited to see him." These examples demonstrate how future plans or actions can be expressed using simple sentence structures. Instead of focusing on abstract grammar rules, the teacher uses practical examples that students can directly follow. This helps students understand what is expected in their writing and gives them confidence before starting the task. The teacher then invites 2 until 3 students to attempt producing a sentence orally. Immediate correction or praise is given to ensure students are using the correct structure and meaning. This oral practice acts as a bridge between guided input and written output, allowing students to check their understanding in a supportive environment. Finally, students are instructed in pairs to write future plan sentences. Differentiation by instruction and feedback is applied to ensure that students with different proficiency levels receive appropriate support. Overall, this input stage prepares students both cognitively and linguistically to achieve learning objective 2. And for the task stage, the rationale for this stage is to assess students' ability to apply what they have learned during the input stage. This stage allows students to demonstrate their writing skills independently while still receiving minimal support. Through the task, students are able to practice constructing future plan sentences and show whether they have met the requirements of learning objective 2. In this lesson plan, the task stage is carried out during the post-lesson task. Students work in pairs and are provided with handout 2 which contains sentence starters. These sentence starters act as scaffolding, especially for weaker students, by helping them begin their sentences without struggling with how to start. At the same time, stronger students are able to expand the sentences with more details. Students are required to write at least 3 future plans or actions related to the characters. This requirement directly aligns with the success criteria of learning objective 2 and ensures that students produce sufficient written output for assessment. Pair work is used to encourage collaboration, discussion, and peer support, allowing students to learn from each other while completing the task. The teacher sets a total time of 15 minutes for the activity with an additional 3 until 5 minutes given to slower pairs. This differentiation by time ensures that all students have a fair opportunity to complete the task without feeling pressured. During the task, the teacher walks around the classroom to monitor students' progress, provide guidance, and clarify misunderstandings when necessary. Through this stage, students actively apply the language models and ideas introduced earlier, demonstrating their ability to meet learning objective 2 through written work. And lastly, for the feedback stage, the rationale for this stage is to enable students to present their written work and to receive immediate feedback that supports improvement. Feedback plays an important role in writing development as it helps students become aware of their strengths and areas that need correction. In this lesson plan, the feedback stage is conducted after the writing task. The teacher invites 3 until 4 pairs to read one of their best future plan sentences aloud to the class. This sharing session allows students to gain confidence in their writing and learn from their peers' responses. It also encourages active listening among the rest of the class. After each sentence is read, the teacher checks whether the sentence is about the future and whether it is a complete sentence. The class responds using thumbs up or thumbs down, making the feedback process interactive and engaging. The teacher then corrects minor grammar or spelling errors orally and repeats the improved sentence so students can notice the correct form. This approach ensures that feedback is constructive and supportive rather than discouraging. The teacher also praises pairs who successfully write at least 3 clear future plan sentences with correct grammar and spelling. Positive reinforcement helps motivate students and reinforces the success criteria of LO2. Through this feedback stage, students are able to reflect on their writing and understand how to improve in future tasks.
Finally, for the closure stage, our rationale is to end the lesson meaningfully. This stage functions as a form of formative assessment, allowing the teacher to check students' understanding and their social-emotional response to the lesson. It is the bridge that connects today's learning to tomorrow's objective. We do this using exit card as a tool for individual reflection, followed by a short verbal summary that links the lesson to the real-world skills. For instance, based on the exit card above, there are 3 main questions. Students write down the most interesting fact they found, one thing they enjoy about the lesson, and their biggest challenge. Based on their response, the teacher gains immediate insights into students' comprehension and engagement to inform the next day's planning. Finally, the teacher reminds them that to always look for details in their reading and most importantly to always dream big for their future. This keeps the lesson both relevant and inspiring. Next, for our differentiation strategies, the rationale is to ensure classroom equity. Since students have different proficiency levels, we aim to support weaker learners through scaffolding while still keeping stronger students challenged and engaged. We believe that one-size-fits-all approach often leaves struggling students behind and the advanced students board. To achieve this, we apply two different strategies: instructional scaffolding and time differentiations. As you can see, both strategies are embedded naturally through the lesson development and post-lesson stages to create a seamless learning experience for all. To elaborate, we use strategy 1, differentiation by instruction and feedback. During the reading phase, where the teacher adjusts instruction based on the student's ability levels. So for the weaker students, the teacher pauses at key points to paraphrase complex details into simpler language and provide guiding questions. Meanwhile, the stronger students are encouraged to work independently by silently underlining key details and making inference. These keep their cognitive demand high while ensuring weaker students are not left behind. Next, we apply strategy 5, differentiation by the time pupils are given to complete a task, where in our case, during the writing task. Although the class is given a standard 10-minute timer, slower pairs are explicitly allowed an additional 3 to 5 minutes. This flexibility helps reduce anxiety, ensure fairness, and allow every student to meet success criteria without feeling a rush, fostering a growth mindset rather than a race to the finish line. And that's all from us. Thank you.